So, why do we have jobs? Money. To put it frank and to put it blunt, like simply we need to eat, we need a roof over our head, we have to pay the bills. And money is the way us humans get by day to day. And it we have to find money one way or another, and for most people, they have a job. It doesn't matter what the job is. Like that, my job, for example, is I'm a YouTuber now. I'm a content creator, but it's still a job. So the idea of changing jobs frequently is to try and climb up the ladder. Maybe you want to get further in your career, but ultimately, to say it bluntly and frankly, is to make more money. That's the thing. Now, of course, sometimes you peak in your job and it becomes too easy and therefore unsatisfying, and you want more satisfaction and so on. But the general thing is that when you get more responsibility, hopefully you make more money. So now, I am not gonna go on to a discussion about whether it's right or wrong, but I just feel that that is how we are built as a society. That's how we're built as human beings. So money makes the world go round. Money is also the source of all evil, unfortunately. But generally, if you want to help yourself, then you need to always assess your self worth. What do you believe you are worth? Because my belief truly, and again, I'm just being frank, I'm just being blunt, is that a employer will determine that your job and what you do for the company is worth exactly the salary they're giving to you. And whether they reward you with a 1% pay rise or like something pathetic like a book voucher um, or thing for a whole year's hard work, um, it's up to you whether you want to accept that on a yearly basis. Now, I would say optimally, especially for someone that used to work as a software developer, changing jobs every 2 years is probably a good idea. So let me give you an example. In my case, I worked 4 years as a in a college, okay, and I was earning something like 26,000 a year. So at the peak, originally it was less than it was like 24,000, and that's pound sterling. So please convert that to your local currency. And I felt satisfied in the job. It was good to get on the job market, fresh out university. I did well in the job. I was working in education, so I was helping towards the education of young adults, and I felt good. It's like I was giving back. But after 4 years, basically the money became an issue because I live in London. So like my salary could be 200,000, and I could still potentially not get the house I want. So 24 to 26,000, forget it. And then basically, I became an independent contractor for 2 years. And contracting for a while was great, like because when you're a software developer, for example, the day rates can end up being equivalent to double, triple, quadruple what you get doing exactly the same work on a permanent basis. However, I mean that's a discussion as well of permanent versus contract. Is that um, you might get a huge amount of money, but you have to constantly look for contracts. You have no job security. You'd have basically nearly no rights when you're a contractor, like employment rights, um, and so on. And the reason why I ended up going back into permanent work after 2 years is because while it was great while I had a contract, let's say I got a 6 month contract and I had a really high day rate and so on, great. But then I was constantly stressed and constantly looking for the next contract. And I think there was a gap at one point of 6 months when I wasn't able to get a job. Now, thankfully, the money I had did last those 6 months because I got, like I said, paid such a high day rate. But it wasn't a sort of stable way to live. So I ended up going back into permanent work. And then I worked for a company for about 5 months in another doing more software development, and I was earning I think 32,000 a year, and then I left that job because I just wasn't happy there, and then I spent again a couple of months looking for another job, and then I found a job, and it paid me 40,000 again. So small, you see, small step ups. And then I was there for 2 years, and then I left. And then I got a job for about 5, 6 months at 53,000. And then I left because I wasn't happy there. Now, I was actually at the time applying for another job at an investment bank, and that job was paying upwards of 65,000. And the reason why I decided not to go for that is because simply I was on a cycle because I've got mental health issues, basically, sorry to say, and it prevented me pursuing that job. And then since then, the last 3 years, I've been a content creator and I've been happy. I work 7 days a week as a content creator. I post videos to my 6 YouTube channels. I live stream on Twitch. I manage my social media. I've got Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and so on. And the work is kind of creating itself. There's more than enough for me to do to keep me occupied 7 days a week. And the amount of money I'm making is not as much as I could get as a developer. However, I am a lot happier. And the nice thing as well is that there's no cap. I think I mentioned it in another video that there's no cap to how much I can earn as a content creator. Whereas when you're in a fixed permanent contract, your job is basically fixed until you change it. Now, the advantage of changing jobs frequently is that you can climb up the ladder quickly, in terms of your career and how much money you're making and responsibility and so on by changing jobs. But at the same time, you need to be ready for the instability of it all. Now, I personally do favor the satisfaction of the work more than the money. So basically, I think money is or in a job. There is a minimum, of course I need to live and so on. I want to, I'm not a charity. But at the same time, I feel life is so short to be so miserable. I do not envy the people who spend 50 years in a job who are not satisfied and undervalued and so on. I just don't want that. And I've had an attitude for a long time that I could work as a software developer, I could make a lot of money, but it would probably be more satisfying for me to work for myself. Now, of course, every person's story is different, and the main point of this video is if you're not happy and you're not satisfied in your job, you're undervalued, you don't like your co-workers, there was a lot of layoffs because of the pandemic, whatever the situation is, I would say get your CV ready and get it out there. You never know, something might fall into your lap. And if you move job and you're not happy in the new job, update your CV and apply again for another one. Like, no one has said that there is no perfect job. There is no perfect anything for anyone. And right now I'm enjoying being a content creator, but I might get bored of it one day. I might need something else to help satisfy me. So I am more than ready to change this, what I do now, this job, as much as I did as a developer. So let me know your experiences in the comments down below. I could talk about this forever because basically there's been a lot of interesting twists and turns in my jobs and career so far. But the main thing is, and it is what the same message from this channel, is the importance of being satisfied mentally, and then also as well just taking care of your personal finance, making sure that any money you do make, it goes to the proper places, clears debt, it's invested, growing, it's working for you, and so on. And changing jobs could be a way to do that. Of course, I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm just like with a lot of my videos, all I'm saying is please think. Am I worth this? Am I worth what I'm going through? The amount of work I have to do versus the little pay I get, is it worth it? So just think about it. That's all I ask.